Hey, what's up? This is Gary from Raz Rentals, and I'm going to talk about the brand new Masters of the Universe Origins Orko action figure. And for me, in the grand scheme of 80s sidekick characters, he's okay. Like I liked him as a kid, he was fine. But, I must have been like a harsher kid than most people or something like that, because lots of times I'd watch those old cartoons and, they'd throw their little sidekick characters that were specifically put in there to appeal to kids, and I'd be like, get rid of them. I just want to see I want to see He-Man fighting bad guys. I want to see Lion-O without Snarf being like, Lion-O, I'm all afraid. Or like, even worse, when they added Snarfer. I mean, do you really want me to watch this cartoon or not? Or, even the real Ghostbusters. Slimer started off good when he was a pet, and then he kind of became like, he could talk almost, and he was going out on all their jobs and stuff like that. Come on. But Orko pretty much remained consistent. It's like, I can see why people don't like him, but he seems kind of middle ground to me. So, first of all, this looks pretty cool in here. The window is very nice, the big bubble here. And behind him you have that, like, rock, the blast red rock or whatever you call it, background, which looks very nice, just like the old Masters of the Universe toys. And on the back here, you have a very nice shot of Orko magically throwing a pail of water in Beastman's face. That's pretty cool. Now, this guy doesn't have any action features, but look, you can pose him on flying stand for levitating action. And, holy cow, you can twist into powerful battle positions. Wow, I can move his arms around? Tell me more! So, I'm going to open this guy up, and I'm going to talk about him in a minute. Here he is, free from his prison bubble. So, I got Orko here from Amazon. There was no packaging inside of the box, so my card was bent. It didn't really matter because I was going to open them anyway, but I do like to keep the cards just so I can have the cool little artwork and stuff like that. Orko is a Trollin from Trolla, and that's as far as my knowledge of Orko pretty much goes. I used to watch the He-Man cartoon a lot, but since then I haven't really gone back and watched it as much as other cartoons. But, I think that he looks pretty good. To begin with, I think his sculpt looks pretty cool. The only accessories he comes with is this stand. And, when Super 7 released their Filmation line, they gave Orko like a magic wand and some other items. And, I think they could have possibly given him some kind of item like that. Something that he could hold in his hand at least. But in general, I think that this does a good job of encapsulating the look of Orko. And I'm going to go into a little bit of detail about how this guy translates the original toy and also kind of the cartoon Orko. So let's begin. So I think Orko does a pretty decent job of looking like the Orko from the cartoon. Obviously, I think the best one is the Filmation Orko that Super 7 put out. His proportions look a little closer to the cartoon. Like if you look here, he's kind of shorter than these other toys and kind of wider. And most of the times his scarf around his face kind of tucks in underneath his hat. But if you're back to looking at these, these other toys, like his scarf, he doesn't have that same width that he has in the original cartoon. He's a little skinnier. So in some ways, I think that this brand new Orko is a mix of the Filmation Orko and the original Mattel Orko. Kind of looks like this is like Orko through the aging process. It's like here he is, little kid Orko. Here you're teenage Orko, and here's old man Orko. He's taller, he's thinner, all that kind of stuff. So in general, I do like it. I think that the colors look good, but they are very bright. The original toy and in the Filmation cartoon, a lot of the colors are very dark, and all of these Origins toys are very, very bright. These are very eye-catching colors. So, but if you look at them, I think there's just, I think it's a decently done action figure. I think all the way that the cloth is kind of wavy in the back of them, even the little creases on the back of the hat here, they all look pretty good. And like I said, the original Orko, I used to have that as a kid, but I think that these other Orkos are definitely executed better. I think that you have a good competition between like the old He-Man and the new Origins He-Man, where I would say there's a lot of things about the original He-Man I prefer over the newer He-Mans, color especially. But with these, I kind of feel like I lean more towards the this like stockier build, or I don't know what you would call it. The only thing that I would say that the old Filmation Orko kind of has over these guys is the shape of this O on his chest. Like if you watch the Filmation cartoon, lots of times it just kind of looks like an oval. It doesn't look like a perfect circle or anything like that. And when you have these guys and you move them in a 3/4 pose, it still looks very much like like an O, where this is more like a 0. So that has that. I do think that this face, even though this might be more Filmation accurate, I do think that this face looks the best out of all 3 of these. I think it's a lot more expressive, the eyes at least. You can tell you kind of get an idea of his personality and what he's thinking, where these guys are just kind of like, bug-eyed, and they look like they're just kind of staring deep into your soul. And in general, like I said, I just think that the overall sculpt of this guy looks very nice. The articulation on this guy is pretty good. I think it works well. Obviously, the original Orko you could move his arms, and he had that ability to spin if you put the zip cord or whatever inside of him. The Filmation Orko, he only had wheels on the bottom of him, and you could move the arms. You could rotate the arms, and you could rotate the head around. But this guy is pretty cool because he's got a ball joint in his head, so you can get him to look in different directions and in different ways. You can make it look like he's sad or something like that. Because, Orko in the cartoon was very expressive. He's essentially like a kid. So you want to have a decent range of expressions and stuff like that you can get on him. It might have been cooler if they would have given him different kinds of hands, too. Just something else besides the base, I think, would have really set this guy above and beyond the other ones. He has a rotation in his shoulders, and he has a hinge. Excuse me. He has rotation in his elbow, and he's got a hinge, and his hands just have rotation and a hinge. No other articulation down here, but you really don't want it because Orko mostly just kind of looks like a flying cape or like a cloak or something like that. Like you can't even tell if he has a body under there. And just under the bottom here, you just have the hole where you can put the stand in. And that's pretty much all you need. And they did a good job with building this guy. Orko comes with this Double Trouble mini comic. This is pretty cool. All the Wave 2 action figures come with the same exact book. You got Trapjaw in here, you got Scareglow, Orko, and do they have Man-at-Arms? Or, I'm sorry, Many Faces? Yes, Many Faces is even in here too. So they covered every single character from Wave 2 in this one book. The only accessory that Orko comes with is this stand, and it looks pretty cool. It's kind of translucent purple. It looks very nice as like a smoke effect or like a magic effect. Something where he's flying around and, it just looks nice. It's sparkly. So, it's magic. And, of course, you have this piece to plug him into it. So you could just stick it into him. Ugh. And pop it in here. And there you go. And it's good. It looks like he's shooting off from the ground and moving ahead. Very cool. So I think with Orko, some people like him, some people dislike him. Like I said, I'm middle ground. I liked him back when I watched the cartoon as a kid. I think he's fine. So if you don't like him or you do like him, let me know. I'd like to see what the audience reaction is to Orko's likability. But, your team just wouldn't look complete without Orko on your shelf next to your other heroic warriors. And, in this lineup of heroes and whatnot, I think he looks really good. All these colors are mixing together very well. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think, and talk to you later.